Hello and welcome back. I'm People Joe and this is Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Finally, it's time for Season X. It's the Peninsula Island Challenge on St. Bernard. And if you're new here, usually my Let's Plays are very tutorial oriented. I try to explain absolutely everything. You can follow along. You won't have this branch right now, but you should have it very soon because it's the branch that will be the 1.0 release branch. So most of the things that you will see here, you will already have available if you buy the game right now. Otherwise, just wait a little bit and you will have it for sure. But it is time to get started. Custom game. Make sure that you go down to the description and download St. Bernard. The map is in there in the workshop. I've modified a map and I really like this one, so that's what we're going to play with. What roads are we going to play? Pretty simple. We're going to play realistic. We're going to set the start of year to 1960 and everything else is just going to stay exactly like it was. If you're a brand new player, I may encourage you to play with medium money. Maybe turn the resources off, maybe turn water management off, maybe turn waste off. But in general, if you want to follow along, if you want to play with me, this should all not be a real problem. So let's get started. Very first thing you should do is hit the spacebar or hit the pause button up here because time is money and you don't want to waste either of it. So here we are. This is the map. If you want to get an overview of the map, go to episode 0. I presented this map. It is St. Bernard. It's in the workshop. Yeah, let's go. We're going to start on this little peninsula right here. The peninsula, I know without research, only has oil. So we have to find an industry that we can count on that will make us money, even though we don't have a lot of resources available. And we will get there, but don't worry, it's not going to bother us until we get to research. And first we have to set up a bunch of other things. Let's press F2 or down here topography to just see where we want to build something. And this will be a little, hopefully helpful right in the beginning. I will tell you my plan for right now. I don't know that we're going to build a city in this episode, at least not from ground up to someone living there. But we're going to plan everything that we can. For planning, it's also important that you have an idea of what you want to do. On this peninsula, I will tell you right now that I'm planning on having a small industry sitting down here. This will be our carryover industry that hopefully gets us through until we have a big industry available, which means our main construction yard is probably going to be created here. I have, let's press F2, a lot of gravel available right here. And that tells me or makes me want to build some gravel-based industries right here and maybe some train exports if we can, which means my best place to build a city in the beginning is right here. I will say it will be helpful to have the first city be as large as possible, but you should have an idea of how big you want to make it. Usually my first cities go around 5,000 citizens, and then we're going to have another city somewhere over here, hopefully bigger than that, but 5,000 is probably a good size. That only matters for planning how big of a shopping center you need and a couple other utilities that you may want to plan for. But that should all be fine. So let's get started. When I play, I usually use the hotkeys bar up here. And this is just the numbers that you can press. And how do you get stuff on here? Very simple. This is how you remove it. You just click on it, you expand it, and then you hit the little X button. Then you can go down here, pick whatever you want. For example, if I want an asphalt road, I can go put it in an empty square, very important, and then it's becoming part of that. And now whenever I press 1 on the keyboard, that's what I'm going to select. I don't like that there. I like my dirt road there because dirt roads are free, which is perfect. And usually you may see me just clicking some buttons. Those are all the keys that I'm using. You can make this whatever you want it to be. And most of the squares that are over here can also be set in this hotkey bar, just in case you're curious when you see me doing something. First, let's get started just getting a general guide on where our road is going to go. I think it would be nice if our road could go, well, up here somewhere. Well, let's see. Yeah, I would like to make sure that I have some good enough connection and some angles to get up this little hill. It's not a flat map. I don't like flat maps, but this map honestly has all the challenges in the terrain that I want. If you really love super flat roads and super perfect gradients and all that stuff, you can make it happen. It's just going to take a lot longer than I'm spending time on here. So please bear with me. I'm trying to just get a quick run around of the map, so we have that for later on. I do know that I want my, let's do this. I do know that I want my city to live down here, to sit down here, so let's get a road that kind of encapsulates that. And I'm not going to build up on the mountain here, so I should be relatively safe to expand just on this side of the road, hopefully. Then here's the first trick that it will tell you. When you build roads, 90-degree roads are bad because your vehicles have to slow down quite a bit. Instead, what I'd like to do, and this is something Kayamaya showed me a long time ago, is just find a node where you can get a road at a good angle, like here. 40 meters seems like a pretty good distance and angle that we can play there, and see if you can put another road in there. I would love it if this could be a straight angle. There's no strong reason for doing that, but I think it does look a little better. I have my bulldozer on 3, otherwise the bulldozer is right down here for demolishing, if you must know. Then we have a little swan neck in here. That looks good. Get your road in there. Again, you just want it to be some angle that's a little better than 90 degrees. This looks relatively close to what I want, and that's good. Then when you want to delete this again, you can just drag through, and now you have a little triangle there that should speed up your vehicles when they get to this junction, hopefully. Cool. That's just a side note. When you build things, it is also important that you do not block yourself from expanding later on. For example, rail. We're not going to build rail right now. It's going to be really far away, but you want to make sure that you have the single rail connection point here available for you later. So what I'm going to do is lay out a little bit of extra track that should allow me later on to actually get to this. That's a really sharp turn, but I don't hate it because it's going to be a very slow, just very, very, very slow turnaround area. Let's get this one connected here because double track is king. And then we're just going to run, let's use the outside track because that's safer. We're just going to run right here. If you do find yourself with issues, lane track and uneven terrain and all that stuff, the map is not super bumpy. But if you do run into issues, it is free in the first month of the game, or the first 30 minutes of the game, something like that. Otherwise, you would have to get some construction vehicles, which we will get right now, that will allow you to terraform, which is pretty cool. Once you have these things laid, they usually are displayed in the white-blue blueprint mode. If you don't want that, you actually want that to go away. Go down here and actually plan it, start construction of plant infrastructure. This is just really a fancy word for, okay, here's rail, I want that. And then it's going to be just put in place like this. Something that I will tell you right away, go down here and set the max workers without CO's construction office. Set that to 5 or 10, just don't have too many. This is the number of workers that can walk into a construction site, if it's in walking range. That can be from a bus station or from their residence. That will matter a lot very early on, so let's make sure that this is all fine. Also, I would like to set my active construction to inactive just in the beginning, because I want to definitely control what we're building, because otherwise we may spend money that we don't have. Good. Okay. I think to start out, I would like to make this our construction zone. So let's get started with that. And I think I want to start with just a quick straight road right here. Again, you can use your right mouse button to terraform if you want here. It is free early on, but it won't be free for very long. So just do what you have to do here. Just a nice straight piece of road. And then get our construction offices going. The first one is going to be very basic, just a free construction office because we don't have people to build it yet. I highly recommend just going full out, get the max number of construction offices relatively soon. We're going to build 4 right now. I'm going to press T. T is for mirror building. You also see the buttons down there at on the bottom of the screen. It may be too small for you to read, but there are some helpers down there telling you what's going on here. I'm just turning them around or flipping them with T and then rotating with R, 90 degrees each button click. And that's our construction office crew. Then we're going to connect this somehow. That looks good. And I will add another piece of road right here, and you will see why we're doing that in, well, later. Because why not? Don't want to have that much space here. I would like this one to be relatively close to our construction offices. And this one can go back a little more. You don't have to be as finangly as I'm being, but it's fun sometimes to have something that looks nice and is functional at the same time. So let's see. There we go. This is what I wanted. You see that angle there, 86 degrees? That is close enough to 90 for my needs, and we can get all of this nice and connected. So, construction offices. Woohoo! How do you get vehicles? Oh, no problem. You can either go here, click on the buy new vehicle mechanism, and pick which vehicles you want. You can also go click on the customs house, and then there's a buy used vehicle button. These vehicles, I believe, are relatively random, but the problem is that these are used and have some maintenance or wear and tear already on them, and at some point when they hit a high level of maintenance, they will break down a lot. So it may not be the best idea to start with them, but you totally can, and that can also be a rule. Maybe I should go over the rules really quick. They are in the description, but the main rules are realistic mode, hard money, and no road connections to the island. Everything else is allowed, so you can really do whatever you want to do. Okay, so since we're just going to buy new ones, I think what I'm going to do is go down here. You may click the wrong button and nothing happens. That is because there's no connection to the custom house for the dollar signs. You cannot buy anything for dollars because there are no NATO houses here. If you want to buy something from NATO, you have to use a ship or a plane. We're not having either yet. So buy new vehicle mechanism, there you go. I would like one bulldozer. These are the best units to build roads, at least gravel roads. And then I'm going to get 3 of these dumpers because they are the biggest to start with. And make life really easy. If you need to, you can search up here for the BZ dumper or other items, other units, whenever you fall into trouble here, if you can't find something. They're sitting here, they're not leaving yet, but they will leave relatively soon. I think something else that I would like to plan ahead is give me a quick bus stop. We're just going to use a free one, and I'm going to use this one as a worker pump, effectively, kind of. I will explain later what that is. It's just you will have to get your initial workers from the border, and sometimes you will only get a handful of workers, and that's not very helpful. But if you pick them up and put them in a bus stop more frequently, you should be able to get more workers organized. I don't like this anymore. I want to make this a little softer turn, so we have a faster connection to this one. That looks good. Okay. The next thing that you need, if you want any vehicles to run, is fuel. Because they will come out with a little bit of fuel, I can probably just show you that. Because our first vehicle comes right here, F2 to hide the infrastructure, and then this one. This guy currently has 170 liters of fuel, but as you can see, that is just running down like he's drinking it. It's like it's its job. But there you go. We need to fill that up, otherwise I can't do much. So let's get some fuel in here. I'm going to pause again because no wasting time. Under roads and vehicles, over here under refueling, there are gas stations or fuel stations. The arrow here means it's a one-way. So they're dedicated one-way. There are reasons to have them. But to begin, we need the gas station that is free because this one does not require power or anything else. The only problem is it only has one station for loading and unloading. That means you can only drop off in one place and you can only fill up in one place. That can be a problem in some situations, but we're going to put this one right here. Cool. The only other thing we need then is some way of actually filling this up, and you can either do that with a line. Highly recommend against that. Because you don't want to block the one place that lets you drop off fuel and refuel. So what we're going to do instead is use a distribution office. Under general cargo, there are these distribution offices. They're grayed out. There's research required to get these, but you have a couple free distribution offices, 5 to be exact, if you want to run them. We could put them here, or I could put this one here. Actually, maybe I like this one the best. Why? Because of the next thing that I'm going to do in just a second. This distribution office is mostly going to be responsible for keeping this area happy. So let's do that first. Buy a new vehicle. This one is going to be responsible for fuel. So if you don't know where you can get fuel from, an oil tank is the one that will fill that up. The T138 cistern is the biggest capacity. It's also the most expensive, but it's only a couple thousand more than the next one. So it does pretty well, I would say. So we can get this one and just be happy and get enough fuel in. Cool. We're going to get that one set up, and then we can talk about the distribution office, how that needs to be set up and what has to go on there. Before we get too far into this, how about we get our electricity briefly planned. I'm not going to get too much into details here, but there's wattage 8 megawatts is the lowest, and 15 is the highest right now, and later on there's going to be an 18 that's the highest. Just go with the highest if you do a border connection like we're doing right now. And all I want to do is make sure that this one can run through here and not block anything. We're not going to build anything or anything like that because I would like to put some storages on the other side of this. Cool. Our vehicle has arrived. Wonderful. You, Cistern, please do something. So to make the distribution office do something, it's very powerful, but it may not make sense right away. Add new connection. Okay, I would like you to go here. For some reason, it will start with unloading at the customs house, not loading. You don't want that. You want to load here. As an experienced player, this will be a little easier, but as a new player, this may make it more complicated. I would recommend controlling exactly what you can fill and can't fill, especially if you have random storages later on. So for right now, we'll tell it exactly, I want you to get fuel. You're responsible for fuel to get that from the customs house, and the only thing you will see in this window are materials that your current vehicles can actually carry. So when you start out, this will be completely empty, so don't worry. Once your vehicle is parked there, it will be fine. So you're going to load from here, and you're going to unload there. Good. And this one only has a choice for fuel, so that is fine. Where things get complicated or confusing is potentially here. Vehicles load cargo from building when building storage are filled to a bigger percentage than this. What does that mean? Let's say you have a building that has 100-ton capacity of something. Let's talk food, fuel, doesn't matter. 100-ton capacity of something. Once it reaches this percentage, in this case it's 0, so always, a truck will go out and get filled. If you set it to, let's say, 10% out of 100 tons, the truck would go out once the storage is 10%. That makes sense, right? However, the truck may have a capacity of 11 tons, not 10 tons. So when it goes out and you don't actually refill any more cargo, the truck will only pick up 10 tons because you set it to 10% of a 100-ton capacity. So your truck doesn't have a chance to run full. That may fill up because the truck actually updates its commands on the way, but it may not fill up all the way. So what you want to do for a truck, if you know that you have 11 tons that you want to run, you gotta click this number? No, this number? Yes. You click that number and tell it 11%. Whatever percentage makes sense, okay? And this was supposed to actually work here with the numbers too, but can't have everything. In this case, 30%, sorry, that's the source building, not the unloading building. But that's for the source building where you want to pick up. If you want to drop off, the truck won't be sent until you run below a certain percentage. Okay, in this case, 30%. So 30%, what does that mean for this gas station? You have 20 tons. Okay, what does 30% mean? 6 tons. Once it's below 6 tons, it will send a truck. Why is that a good or a bad thing? It's a great thing, because once you hit below 30%, so once this is at 6 tons, there's still enough fuel for other vehicles to get there and refuel. That's good. And the truck will go out. We already just determined that the truck has a capacity of 11 tons. Okay, it will go out. Can it get 11 tons? Yes, it can, because we have 6 tons available out of 20. 6 plus 11 is only 17 tons, so it can actually fill this up. If you set this percentage really high, let's say 70%, then fuel, once it hits 14 tons, will send out a truck. 14 tons means there's only a buffer of 6 tons, so the truck doesn't have a chance to fill up. It will only get 6 tons, because the distribution office will not try to overfill something in general. It may do it as a bug, but that's not the goal of it. So you want to try to set these percentages to something that allows your trucks to always run full. Those may be different for different storages. For right now, the default ones will be totally fine. Okay. A little complexity there, but it should be fine. And yeah, there we go. The truck is actually going now. It's loading 100% and unloading 100% right here. Beautiful. And once it does that, it will actually, everyone actually will start refueling, which is good. The next thing we need to do is, well, I want to do, is get a couple roads. You have a couple options. Go down here to your roads, select your whatever road you want. You can go to asphalt right away, but I would just stay with gravel in the beginning, especially right now. You don't have any vehicles that drive faster than gravel. So it's fine. You have a couple of options. You can either click and drag and just update the road that you have highlighted here. That's lame, because left shift lets you batch upgrade. It's also a button right here. Just hit left shift and you get this little blue plus. That's good, because now you can drag this little square rectangle thing, and everything that is within your highlighted zone can be upgraded. The upgrade will only happen between nodes, but overall, this one's a lot faster than the other way. So let's get a couple roads upgraded so we can get started on the next thing. Okay, so these trucks are currently just going out to get their thing, but they won't actually do something here. The bulldozer is not going there yet. What's the problem? Nothing is the problem yet, but we don't actually have any materials assigned. That's not good. You want some materials, otherwise you can't actually build something. Also make sure that your auto search is on, and you see these little X's? That is a quality of life improvement. They're really little. They're a little bigger now. These actually mean that these roads are currently not planned because our active constructions down here is set to false. So we can just batch, upgrade them and say, no, actually, I want you to work on this. So now all of them are being planned and worked on, which is a good thing. And now the construction office tells us the source of gravel is not assigned. No problem. We can fix that right here, right now. There's two ways to fix it. The first and easiest way is just to click specify or replace a source building. And if you have nothing selected, it will replace all of them. Click the cancel button and then a confirmation, just for fun, because you can also do this more specifically. You can just click on one and then it's highlighted and you can just say, I want you to get gravel from here. That's a good thing to do. I would highly recommend also telling it to do asphalt because some buildings will need asphalt and the dumpers are the vehicles that can actually get asphalt. And all the other things cannot go on either a bulldozer or a dumper, so that is easy. How do you know what they can carry? You can just click on them. This is aggregate in general, and after a while you will know what that means. But that's what these guys can carry, and therefore gravel and asphalt are in there. Gravel, asphalt. There you go. So that's where you get your resources from in the beginning when you don't have anything. So that is good to go. You seem to be going to Unfinished Road 3, which should be, I don't even know, you can double click on it. It is that one. I just highlighted it. That's interesting. But all right, well, that's where you're heading. That's fine. It's at least a long piece of road that will enable us to get a little further later on. So that's cool. All right. Let's do a couple more things because they're all important. Sorry, we're not going to get through the first city today, but it will happen very soon. Another thing I would highly recommend that you do is load up on building materials, not from the customs house. Get them out of the customs house so you have them available, because at some point traffic at the customs house is going to kill your republic if you don't watch out. So here's what I would do. I would use the open storages, the free open storages, which actually don't have a limit, which is lovely, and put them over here. And they're not super close to everything, but they're close enough to everything. So yeah, let's put one there. I'm going to put another one, T, to flip it around, close to this side. All you really need is make sure you have a road access to all of them. Then T again and R to flip them. There we go. And the last one, T here, will just get us a flip there. Every once in a while, your buildings may be red and say that you can't place them anywhere. Just try to click. Sometimes you get them to click in place and actually be placed that way, which is super fun. Okay, that one, and these are already connected. Cool. Now we have some storages where we can push some stuff in. Should you start now? No. Highly recommend this, because all of these can effectively let you unload everything or store everything that you want, which is lovely until you accidentally get something that you didn't want. So for right now, I highly recommend that you click limit amount, then a left control, it says it in the tooltip there, left control and click, sets everything to 0, and you just put a 1 in something that you want, because everything that's 0 gets nothing and the other one gets 1. So this is 100%. How would you do 50%? Oh, you just say 1 there and 1 there. Now those are both 50%. So the game splits it up for you. How do you do 30%? Well, you do this one, this one, this one, and this one. You see what I'm talking about, right? But we want to actually steal in here because that's one of the high, the high demand and high value materials. Do you want to be notified if empty? You can be if you want to, but you don't have to be. And then it may make it easier for you if you set these two names that make sense to you that you can actually read later on. So we get steel from there. We can get prefabs from here. We can get bricks from somewhere else. And I'm going to rename them later on when you're not looking, because nobody likes me typing something. And the last one that you need is boards. You should have 4 different types now, and that is a good thing. So once you have them set up, how about we start importing something while there's not a lot of traffic at the border? Sure, that sounds great. So what we're going to do is get a couple vehicles that can actually fill up the open storages, which are these guys. And if you hover over them, it tells you what materials they can carry, and that's what you want. This Skoda 706 open hull is the only one that's the biggest one that you can use right now. So that's what we're going to go with, unless you have some mods, which I don't take responsibility for. There you go. So they're going to come in here, and once they make it to the distribution office, your customs house loading options will increase. And we can probably just start with allowing them to connect here. They may start with the wrong setup, so let's make sure that we unload there. And then with what I explained earlier, we do want to make sure that our storages are used to its fullest. What's the storage capacity? It is 95 tons. Our truck capacity is about 13 tons. Let's use that as a buffer. So we know that once we are at 80% full, we're effectively no longer getting an efficient run. So we're going to set this to 70%, and that should be good enough. And we're just going to set it back for our gas station. And now all the others are set to 70, and our gas station is still at 30 like we had it initially. That's good. The trucks are about to show up and park. There you go. One truck is in there. Now we just have to tell them you can get steel, you can get prefabs, you can get bricks, and you can get boards. And those are the only things that we currently allow to be picked up. Wonderful. As you can see, it's already March, and we haven't built anything else yet. But that is okay, because now we can get started on planning the city. Okay, we want the city here. If we need to, we can reclaim some of the water, some of the beautiful green water. Oh, that looks gorgeous, especially at night. But we may not have to. So let's get started. To get started with a city, there are a couple of very basic things that I pretty much always do. The first one is build a bus platform. Don't build a bus stop necessarily unless you know what you're doing. There is a passenger capacity limit at the bottom. Here it's 200, 200, 250, 150, and then just 100 for the free bus stop. You can use these, they're useful, but if you plan on growing your city, I would probably say build a bus stop that you can actually responsibly use later on. That's what I'm going to do. I know that my city is going to be about 4,000 or 5,000 people, so I'm going to get a bus platform that's appropriately sized. 800 workers is probably too much, but please understand that there are 4 different types of passengers, effectively, that go to a bus station. That is students, tourists, workers, and passengers. Those are people in their free time. And the total capacity is 800. So if you have 800 students waiting, nobody else is going to wait at the bus platform, so you may not be able to get a bunch of movement going. Okay, let's get them started. I would say right here, and I like to build them in a way that is giving enough room for a footpath or something else to be connected in here, because footpaths, especially in the beginning, will be a lot better than the gravel paths that you may have available. So that's good. This bus station is a bus station with a one-way through track, so you have to make sure that you connect both roads, and you can see the one-ways with these arrow roads instead of the, well, normal roads that just kind of are there. How much room do we need? Not that much. Okay, right there is good. Just dragging it out, probably a little longer than I need to. Okay, first building down. And don't forget, everything has an inactive construction right now, so that may or may not be a good thing for you. So we have the bus stop down. Let's get the rest. We want the residential buildings in a little bit, but let's start building the core out first. As a grocery store, I wouldn't start with that. You need to be frugal with your money and with what you can do. So start by just building higher capacity buildings that you only need one of, and that you can make sure that will take care of your citizens for quite some time. Which brings us here. The shopping centers. The large shopping center, I can tell you, at 45 workers and 405 visitors spaces, can handle about 7,500 people in a city. So this one is not bad. I know the small shopping center at 25 maximum workers can handle, well, about half of that. So like 3,500-ish. The Okian supermarket at 28 people can just handle about the 4,000 that I want, which is why we're actually either going to build this one or... So 28 to 24, 30 and 180. That sounds terrible. The ratio is. I think the Okian supermarket is our best bet, so that's what we're actually going to build. Cool. Yeah, I just decided that. There we go. There's one other stat that I kind of ignored. At the bottom, it will tell you what the warehouse capacity is, and it should be bigger than a truckload. That's important. That helps you. The other good stat is a station for vehicle loading, unloading 2. That's important for the thing that we're going to do next, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's build this one somewhere where we know that a truck can actually access this. Right here is fine. If you get some footpath connections that you don't actually want, just hold the left control and they will disappear. And left control also lets you more finely rotate your buildings if you use left control and the mouse wheel. But sure, right here looks good. Let's get a dirt path connection right in there, and that one is set up. And then just to make sure that we don't run out of funny things when we least expect it, I will look at adding either cargo station. These are nice. They have up to 6 cargo spots, and you can have vehicles parked there, and it's connected via a factory connection, or use a warehouse. When I look at these to figure out what I want to build, I also look at prices. For example, this one costs 1.8 tons of steel, which is in the beginning by far the most expensive building material that you need. Where the road cargo station, the one with 2 spots, costs almost 7 tons of steel. So a lot more, which just tells me I'm probably just going to go with the warehouse. Plus, the warehouse has 2 loading and unloading spots, if you look at it, which is just all we need. we don't need any more than that. So let's get this one set up somewhere over here. What I would like is this. I would like it tight enough where... Oh yeah, this is gonna work. I would like it nice and tight. I would also like it so... Oh, come on. Give me... Oh, I would like a road connection somewhere in this area. F4 may help you. Yeah, there we go. This is what I needed. I just wanted to make sure that we don't add more nodes to this section because I just want the trucks to exist here. And then we need a factory connection to just connect from there to there. And that's fine. The problem with factory connections is you can't actually make a footpath or a road across it without mods, which is unfortunate, but eventually that will be fine. So now we have a warehouse here, we have a little supermarket, we have a bus stop. And the bus stop is magical because anything that's in walking range of the bus stop can be reached by anyone that can reach the bus stop. It effectively increases your walking range by double, if you want to. Up to 400 meters, which is wonderful. So I don't think I mentioned that, so I just want to make sure I said that. But we have now a shopping center, we have a little warehouse, and we have a bus stop. Those are all wonderful things. Let's keep going. So we have everything taken care of over here. Alcohol. You could supply this. Alcohol gives you a small boost in happiness, which gives you a boost in productivity, but it gives you a penalty in health and in fertility, so less children and less health. In the beginning, I know that I don't need it, and you shouldn't need a happiness boost as long as you supply everything else. So we're going to skip the pub for right now. If we need it later, that's fine. Cinema. Got 3 options now. The cinema has a maximum worker of 5 and number of visitors 150 versus 5 and 150 and 5 and 30. The big difference is that the cinema can operate all year round. The amphitheater can only operate at weather temperatures above 10 degrees. Look at these little tablets, these tooltips, if you want. There's a lot of information in there that will help you figure out the game, if you're new to the game. The House of Culture can only handle 30 visitors for also 5 workers. So I'm going to start with the cinema. And later on, we're definitely going to start, or we're going to add something extra. I don't know what that's going to be, but this one is a good start. Some of the buildings will have a footpath access and also a road access, but not all of them need road access. The cinemas don't need a road access. How do I know that? A, experience, and B, it doesn't have a space for a vehicle parking. That's a giveaway. If it doesn't have one of those, it doesn't need a road access for anything. And since we're in realistic mode, nothing can be built that needs a road access. So the buildings will also tell you if there's a problem there. So you should be relatively safe. Relatively. We're all going to make mistakes, me included. So just play, get a couple safe spots, and then play again. It's fun. But there you go. Culture building. That's good. Let's get another one. Sport. This is for health, and just sport is a daily, not a daily, but it's a requirement that people will have. Looking at all of these, money or value-wise, resource material-wise, yes, and value-wise for how many people can be in there. The indoor pool is still the best one and can work all year round. So let's get that one out here. I'm actually gonna have it face the cinema because both of these buildings are actually culture buildings or attraction buildings that people can choose. So we already have 2 attractions. It won't be a bad idea to add a 3rd attraction, but that will be something that we can get to later just fine. Cool. So these guys are set up and ready to go. Let's get to the next tab. So I'm just really going down through the green ones here because they will give you everything that you absolutely need. Hospital-wise. Okay, we have a hospital, large hospital, and a small clinic. Okay, this one I know may be problematic because a small clinic has enough doctors and patient spaces. However, it only has parking spots for 1 vehicle. You may not be able to make it to all the people when they need it with 1 vehicle. 2 vehicles will be a lot better, and this is the first mod that I'm going to play with. Mods are always play at your own risk, so don't go wild there. But well, every once in a while they actually have a good use. How's it going over here? Is anyone assigned to that? Yep, they're assigned. They're doing what they're supposed to do. We have 1 bulldozer sitting there, and I'm actually going to jump in and buy 1 more bulldozer so we can speed up our construction a little bit. If you want, you can use the flatbed trucks, the open hauls, to transport them. I'm not that worried about that right now, but they will get to this relatively soon. So, back to where we were. Hospital, and yeah, once you have mods, it will look like this, but this is the one that I want, the small clinic, and from the 50s. That one has a little bit of pollution. Why do you have a little bit of pollution? I don't like that. Maybe we do pick a different one. We have 5 parking spots here. That's just too big. 1 parking spot, 1 parking spot, 4 parking spots. I thought I knew which one I wanted. Okay, I think I found it. This one can handle fuel. It has 7 and 7 and 21 for patients and 2 parking spots for vehicles. No pollution. And the size is relatively comparable to the small clinic in the game. So we're going to go with this one. Again, it's mostly for the parking spots because they will make our life relatively easy. That looks good. This is auto purchase resource buttons. That's disabled when you play in realistic mode, so you don't have to worry about that one too much. How's it going over here? You guys are doing wonderful. So we got that one done. Great. Fire station. This one, I'd like the original vanilla one, and I'm actually going to place it in an awkward spot, potentially, which is out here. Why? You want to make sure that your fire station can handle as much area as possible without having to, well, transport stuff to it. Because once you have a fire, once you have an earthquake, your fire station is immensely important, and you want to make sure that it's staffed, that it has enough fuel, that it has enough workers in it. And this is the best way to make that happen, because I already know that I want my industries over here. This may almost be a too far away distance, but it should be fine for now. Where it is right now, it should cover the city, and much more important, we should be able to make a footpath to at least our bus station that will enable us to get workers to that fire station without much trouble. I'm just going to start building the first footpath in here. It's not the prettiest, but it will do what we need it to do, and then we can verify that we're actually in range by talking to you, hovering over this, and it tells us 360 meters to that bus station. As long as we have workers in the bus station, we will have workers in the fire station, which should be good enough. Okay, let's get that one, and we're just going to plan these footpaths so we have something started. Great. So, what else do we need? Well, we have all of this done. Kindergarten, that's usually something I built later on because you need that every few residential buildings, well, depending how big they are. But I don't overplan that too much. Looks like, do we have a new school here? Maybe a new school. 7, 7, 84, 45. That's too big. 30, 30, and 13, 13. I think this is the school size that we want, so we're going to go get this one added. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually trying to separate out the area here and the residential area there, because there's something new that I haven't done before that I really want to try here, that we're going to build really close to the city, and we'll see how that all goes. I heard good things, so we're just gonna have to try it out and hope. But there you go. There's the school. Then universities. We will absolutely need a university as probably one of the first construction projects that we're going to build. We need it by year 2, otherwise you run out of highly educated people, and we need it even more because we have to concentrate on research to actually get done. So there's a lot of things going on with that university, but we don't have to plan it right away because it will be relatively easy to put it anywhere we want, especially now that we have smaller universities, so we don't need that. Police, crime and justice in general shouldn't make a big impact on your republic for at least 3, 4, or 5 years, so we can leave this one out until it becomes a real issue. It's also just a lot of cost associated with them. City Hall, we don't need. Technical service, we do need, because we need to handle water, we need to handle trash, we need to handle winter. This may be one that I'm actually very inclined to build the big one if it wasn't so darn expensive. 25 tons of steel is just too much, and the small one here is 13 tons of steel. I don't want to mod because it makes it too easy, so technical service, we're going to start with the free one. We're just going to build a few of them, and eventually when we have some money, we're going to replace them with the big technical service office, and it will be great. So we have everything built from there. Okay, let's concentrate on the on residences. We are playing with waste and management, so we have to make sure that we actually have all the buildings that we have connected to trash. Okay, let's get started with the big one for trash. We need a large stand, I would not do a small one, for places that have special trash. For example, this one. Do I want you there? Do I want you here? Where do I want you? I don't know, do I want you here? Do we want a footpath through there? I don't think we want a footpath through there, do we? I could do this right here. Okay. Right there is good, if we can actually build this. Yep, we can build it. I want the big one here, because the big containers can hold more, and especially for hazardous material, that may be good, because otherwise you're going to have trucks running around with 0.07 tons of some waste, and that's just wasting capacity in your truck, and means that they can't pick up something else at the same time, which is not great. So I like to use the large containers at least in places where we have special waste. The smaller containers are fine for residential areas. You just have to make sure that you have trucks that can actually transport them. More on waste later. It's not as easy as it sounds. Residential buildings. There in the vanilla are only a few options really that we should play with. Let's go over here and actually set this to favorites only so we don't get overwhelmed with all that other nonsense. Most of them are locked behind research because prefab panel construction is locked. There's only one building that you should really build in the very beginning from the vanilla ones, which is right here on the medium. It's the flat bricks for 110 workers, because quality of flats is 87%. Quality of flats is a soft limit to how happy your citizens can get. So if it's too low, like this one, 70%, they can only get up to 70%-ish happy. This one is only 68%, etc., etc. You see the trend here. So I will just say, just build the brick flats in the beginning, and life should be relatively good. Okay, how many do we need? I know that I would like my city to be about 4,000 big later, but to start out, we need about 800 citizens available. So let's see what we can do with that. We're gonna get 3 here, and then maybe I can build a small little square in this area. Yep, I like that, and then we just build a couple more here. So what do we have now? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that will be 10 buildings here if we ever get there. I don't like how tight they're all sitting, so we're just going to redo that a little bit. There's no real rhyme or reason here. I like sometimes to just have them face each other. Sometimes I just like to flip them. Sometimes I like them a little more random. I don't like any of these, so let's do one more try where we make this a nice box. What are we dealing with here? So these are currently laid out like this. Okay, actually gonna remove you and start the other ones. So here we can just flip it, and now the building side is on the other side, which I like. Flip this one again, rotate, and that is fine. So now we have a nice little courtyard over there. That looks good. These are not aligned with the middle of that, so we can do that again. You can go as fancy or as boring as you want to go with this. It's completely up to you. This is why it's a city builder. You get to decide what you want to do. Flip that, rotate it there. Flip that. Okay, I like this better. And then this one's the only one that currently doesn't play along. Oh, by the way, if you want to delete something and it asks you for a confirmation or doesn't ask you, hold control. When you hold left control, it doesn't ask you for a confirmation. It's wonderful. Okay, that looks like we got something set up and I like it. And there's enough residential buildings here for right now. This is exactly 8, so we can get up to 900 people, which is perfect for beginning because we're not going to get much bigger than that anyways. And once we do, well, you just have to build more residential buildings. Something that I didn't do. Very important, and I always forget about this. Before you build anything, make sure that you actually check this. When you place buildings, this little box over here pops up. It has Get Citizens turned on by default. I'm not a fan of that, but it does. Turn it off. Very simple. You don't want it. Oh no, you already placed some buildings. What are you going to do now? Well, you can go in and just uncheck the button at the bottom. And if you don't see it right away, just scroll down a little bit. And then you decide that this building just looks a little out of place because the only one not really rotated. So we're going to do that one again. Instead of that way, it will go this way and it looks at us and cool. There's that. There's only one more really important setup building that we haven't built yet, which is a monument. Monuments are there for loyalty and really nothing else. Build it somewhere where you think you're going to have the reach of everyone involved, and just build it. It costs a lot of steel, so don't be too wasteful on this, but I think right there is fine. You should be able to connect to it. In the middle would be okay. But if you look at the monuments, they all have different range and different influence. So this one has 3.4%, 165 meters. That's a lot. That's also the biggest range until you get the upgraded monuments. But the other ones you could totally use, but they also use more other things. The children's playgrounds are not part of the monuments. They're just probably going to be removed by the time you get to play this branch. So that looks good. Okay, let's get a couple footpaths and then we can concentrate on waste. And then there are other utilities that we still have to build. This game is just never over. So that one can go in there. This one can probably go here. Here. What is the goal of placing these footpaths, one might ask? And the answer to that is give everyone as much reachable things as possible. That honestly, that is the main factor here. Well, there's food, but I may want to have something else out there. So let's get that connected. These guys are kind of connected. As long as everyone is at least connected to the bus stop, I'm not terribly worried about their reach. So they should be fine. There is the clinic. We did pause. It's unpause again because I would like our roads to actually get done. That one can connect in there. This is the cinema. Looks like we may just be a little too close to that one to get a connection in here. Oh, that's too unfortunate. Let's do this. Get rid of our footpaths and a couple trees while we're at it. And let's do this again. We could do just a simple connection right there. Then we can get that one in here. Come on. Come on. There you go. Yep. Got footpaths. It's not the most exciting thing to watch, but it's absolutely necessary that you do it. So I'm just going to keep this up for a little while longer before it gets too mundane. Can you go in here? Yes, you can. And there you go. Now we should have everything connected besides the bus station down there, but we're going to get to that one too. Let's see. Can I? Yes, I kind of can go there. I think I want this, and then I want this. Okay. I'm not a big fan of making things too straight, so this, I think, looks fine for right now. Let's see what our connections are, bus station. Do you have connection to everyone? Yeah, 329 meters. Perfect. How big do we want to do this? I don't know yet. We're going to get as big as we want it. Cool. So that one is placed. Let's get our waste situation set up. Over here, just make sure you get the stands for small, garbage containers large with the footpath connections. And when you place them, it will tell you what all is in range and what isn't in range. Looks right now we have pretty much everything covered in the center area, and I like to get 2 placed because then you can specialize the containers right away and get a little extra storage taken care of. So that looks good. I wanted to make sure that we don't have the clinic over there, which we honestly, well, we just don't want it. But every other building that we have here is already, well, collected. That's good. We also have this guy, and if we can, I would like to keep industries or larger buildings with their own trash. There we go. And just get their containers up front. That works for me. And now we need a couple more. One right here that would cover everything but that one in the middle. If I... Oh gosh. I can see it. I can already smell it. This guy. If we just connect that one, we should be able to get everyone covered with trash from right here. Yep. And again, I do like double trash setup. Let's try this again. Because it is worth it to fit 2 at the same time. Oh, come on. There we go. If we fit you here, we're not going to get everyone. We could do this. Totally. They can just face each other. That may be sufficient for right now. At least everyone is still reachable. But I want to make sure that I can put the last one here, which is the child care kindergarten. What size? So we have 27, 12, 18... 27, 12, 18. I think the 18 one is my favorite, maybe. For these, you must know that it's the absolute only building in terms of needs that citizens may have that can only be reached via footpath if it's in range and cannot be extended via any other means, because children have to be brought to the kindergarten just right here in one straight swoop. But this looks like we're at least connected to everything, so we can build that, and everyone should be happy. And when we want to, if we want to, we have an extra road connection right here. Road connection, path connection, whatever you want there. We can put some other sporting events or something else in this area, make that nice and pretty. Cool. So that is good. Our road looks good. We have more material coming in, and our road crew is currently not doing anything. We don't like that. So let's get a couple more things upgraded into the city so we can actually start building something when we come back next time, right? Yes. Make sure that you actually start your batch construction for the places that you want. If you want to speed up construction just a little bit, it's also not a bad idea to run a temporary dirt road to connect something, so now you have more paths connected to what you want later. I do know that we at least want 1 or 2 excavators, so I'm just going to buy them right now, and they can be part of the crew that will start building more roads, and that should get us just going a little more, making sure that we can upgrade a couple things here. The bus station can be upgraded if we want to, and well, no, this is fine. This is good enough to right now get started. I'm just going to, let's see here, sure. Make this road come out here. And there you go. Now this should all be in range and be reachable by our construction offices, which is important. Utilities are missing. Heat is missing. That's a utility. Water, power, and that's it. But we're going to do that next time because it takes a long time to build a thing. I think in general, within 3 hours, you should be somewhere if you know exactly what you're doing and don't have to talk over it and explain everything. Maybe hour and a half, 2 hours gets you somewhere, but the game is not built to be played quickly, especially if you play on realistic mode. If you don't like waiting as much as we have been, go ahead and turn realistic mode off and just play with automatic builds on. If you don't want to wait until the next episode, there's a shortcut, there's a cheat code. Become a Patreon member or a YouTube member. I think as low as $1. $1 a month will get you early access to all the episodes that I post, and also ad-free for at least the Patreon members. YouTube just won't let me do it. So yeah, if you're interested, that's your easy out, and you can jump right onto the next episode once I upload them. Cool. Let's leave it here. This is the start. We obviously have a lot more work to do, and I'm very excited, and I hope that we don't fail. There's a lot of ways to play this game. If you don't like the way that I play, but you like or you want to play along a little differently, feel free to do it and just change whatever you need to change, because it's supposed to be fun and not annoying. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.